Holy hell. Look at all of these games. This is insanity. This has to be one of the biggest hauls we've had in the store. If you're new, this is the Goat Games, a retro video game store, and we buy a lot of old games. We buy a lot of old stuff. And we've got a massive haul this time. PSP games, Genesis games, 3DS games, a whole bunch of original Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games, which is really cool to see. N64 games, Super Nintendo games. Oh, God. There's so much stuff. Switch, Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube, but really a whole lot of PS3 and a whole lot of Xbox 360. Look at these towers of games. This is imposing, to say the least. A lot of awesome stuff, though. And this stack of games is actually pretty good. Usually when we get a bunch of Xbox 360 games in, it's like sports games or whatever, but we got a lot of good stuff, so don't worry. But why don't we start off with lunch? Start off with a nice lunchbox Fallout 3 Collector's Edition. I don't know why they decided to package it inside of a lunchbox, or what a lunchbox has to do with the nuclear fallout, but whatever. Either way, Fallout 3, awesome, amazing game. I played the hell out of it, and I had a lot of fun. So we're going to open this up, see what's inside here. Let's take a look. What is this? Making a Fallout 3 holotape. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's like a DVD sort of behind the scenes look at the game, I guess. Look at this. I assume this is an art book of some kind. Let's go ahead and take a look here and see what it's sort of... Oh, that's pretty cool. I actually like this. I like this concept art. Very detailed images of the Fallout world. All the characters, all the different kinds of armors you see people wear. This is very interesting stuff. It's always neat to see how it started. How all these... Because Fallout 3 is very kind of in your face. The bobblehead Pip-Boy or whatever, which we'll show here in a second. So it's interesting to see it in traditional art form. Like, look at this. I love this thing. We're going to give this a little bobble there. Perfect. I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, it has this kind of like over-friendly attitude. Fallout 3 does, but the actual 2D art, the concept art, it's much more like the original games, which were much more grim and stuff like that. So I enjoy that. It's a good lunchbox. I'll give it an A+. Would eat lunch with it again. But what else have we got here? Well, a lot of stuff. Like these boxed NES games. This Fester's Quest for the original Nintendo. And here's our boy Fester on the cover. I don't know, what's that condition where like half your face is paralyzed? It's like Bell's palsy or something like that. I think Fester may have that. This is I think it's a pretty good game. Very difficult game for the original Nintendo. But man, these old boxes, dude, there's just something else about them, man. We will never go back to video games being packaged like this ever again. Not on a mainstream level. We've gone down the rabbit hole of digital only and these kind of cheaper plastic boxes. So it's always cool to see these old boxes come in. Back when games used to be packaged differently. Like Xenophobe here. Like, but they couldn't just put the graphics on the box because that wasn't... The graphics aren't as cool as the art. Let's be honest here. So that's why they had to, do that. But I think it has a certain charm about it. I don't know what the number one, why someone would write 1 on this box, but we buy them how they come in. Here's a cool one, Platoon. I love this box art as well. Very different kind of art style. Look at this. Are you ready for the real thing? Look how real this is. This is absolutely... This is just like real life. Very convincing. That's how we. If one thing about gaming hasn't changed, it's how we market video games. Here's the original Tetris from Russia with Love. I actually thought this game would be significantly more expensive, but it's actually pretty cheap, which is very surprising because it seems like a classic Nintendo game that everybody would want, the original Tetris. But apparently not. I think like the box game with the game and the manual is like $30 or $40 or something like that. It's not too crazy expensive. Unlike this, Hotel Mario for the CDI. Very expensive game. Sadly, it doesn't have the manual, which is a big bummer, but we can at least stare at the back and wonder, what if we had the manual to go along with this game? It's pretty cool, though, regardless, to get a CDI game in. Kind of a rare thing to get. And we got some Master System games here. Choplifter, Missile Defense. Nothing too exciting. Random copy of RoboCop on the NES. And some PS1 stuff, which is okay. Digimon World 2. No manual, unfortunately, but that's how it be. Casper. Look at these ghosts. They aren't the friendly ghosts, rest assured. Casper is the only friendly one. How about this? Power Rangers Pinball. God damn it. It actually looks kind of cool, to be honest. But I thought that was funny. NBA Jam for the PlayStation 1. Another game I didn't realize existed. Looks fun to me. And what was this? A sports game, Harry Potter game. Nothing too crazy. But I like getting in any PlayStation 1 stuff. If there's a system I was going to collect for, it would be the PlayStation 1. But here we go. Cybernator for the Super Nintendo. Complete in box. The biggest thing to ever hit a Super Nintendo. The box is pretty rough. Some damage on there. It's still together, but this is not a minty box, unfortunately. But it does have the manual, which is cool. Look at this. As predicted, the future is really going to blow. I love it. The game looks pretty good. I've seen gameplay of it. It seems like a pretty solid Konami game to me. I mean, it's Konami. How can you go wrong? Really cool stuff. A bit expensive there. I think it's 100 something for the box and the game and the manual. But yeah, fun stuff. And when we blow through this Genesis stuff, Spider-Man and the X-Men. I love the 90s, 80s era X-Men. It was a different time. A better time. Some would say a better time. I mean, look at that. All the classic X-Men on the back there. I don't know if that is the... X-Men 2 on the Genesis is pretty good from what I've heard, but I don't know about that one. Here's Sonic 2, which I think this is the second Sonic 2 we've gotten in. I know I did a Genesis pickup videos not too long ago. There was a copy of Sonic 2 there, I believe. Here's KO Boxing with that guy who's trying to sell me grills. George Foreman. This man, he did box. There was a day when he was a boxer and not a grill salesman. And we've got Mortal Kombat for the Genesis. Very iconic game. Very controversial game. Mortal Kombat and Doom almost single-handedly destroyed gaming as we know it. And I don't think people appreciate that enough. There were so many lawsuits flying around. It could have been very easy for it to have completely changed the future of gaming. Could you imagine gaming without the ability to play as someone going around shooting other people? Because that's what was on the line, was violent video games. And we laugh about it now. We laugh about people being like, oh, games are too violent. But honestly, it was very close back in the day to being the nail in the coffin to gaming. Mortal Kombat and Doom. People don't talk about that. That could be a whole nother video. But we got PSP games to show off. Hot Shots Golf Open T2. God, look at these faces. That's some rough stuff. I've seen mirrors that are somehow more attractive than the than the faces there. Medal of Honor heroes. Very fun stuff. I like the PSP a lot. Not gonna lie. PSP really taps into why I like the original PlayStation. It had technical limitations. It had control limitations with only one stick. And it just had a lot of unique games that were only made for the PlayStation Portable. And if that sounds appealing, you need to jump on the PSP while you can. Because the PSP games are still incredibly cheap. We got a couple of the expensive ones here. But even expensive games are relatively cheap to the expensive games on other systems. And they're just so weird. The games are so weird, like Rengoku here. Some sort of third-person action game. Our employee Ron was telling me about it. Where you can, like, change parts of your body as, like, different weapons. And you just go around whooping ass. I mean, it sounds like my kind of game to me. If I can turn my arm into, like, a giant scythe or something, hell yeah. Here's Beautiful Joe, Red Hot Rumble. And this one's still sealed up, which is pretty cool. Some of these games were still sealed. Look at this. They even put Dante in the game. Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Good stuff. I only played Beautiful Joe 1, but I liked it a lot. But here's an example of what I was talking about earlier with expensive PSP games. Steambot Chronicles on the PSP. Now, Steambot Chronicles on PS2 is already extremely expensive. And this game is technically following suit, but for some reason, a lot of PSP games, even with the box, even with the manual, is still pretty cheap. I think that game is $50, I want to say. I forget. It's not, or maybe $70. It's not like $200-something, something like that. Here's Riviera. This is a pretty fun RPG. What's this one at? If I show the price sticker. I forget if I did or not. I didn't. I think that was like 50 or something like that. But yeah, a lot of these games, even the really expensive chase games, I mean, they are expensive. You're going to pay. I mean, these are collector items. But they really can't compare to the really expensive Super Nintendo games or the really expensive Sega Saturn games or any of that stuff. Freaking Neo Geo. That stuff is... Those kinds of games are massively, very, very, very expensive. I mean, Earthbound... God, what is Earthbound loose up to? I think a loose copy of Earthbound is... I mean, it's more than $100. I tell you that much. It's quite a bit. And, yeah. PSP doesn't have that problem. So jump on it while you can. Jump on the original Xbox. Jump on the PS3 while you can. Because who knows? You never know when you're going to wake up. And then suddenly the ship will have sailed. All the games that could have been gotten will have become too expensive to collect for. Here's a sealed copy of Gran Turismo for the PSP. Pretty neat. Kind of weird to see PSP games still sealed up. Here's another cool one. Street Fighter Alpha 3 for the PSP. The Alpha series for Street Fighter games were a lot of fun. I'm glad they kind of made the game faster. I know people love Street Fighter 2, but I can only play Street Fighter 2 for so many years before I want something different. And Alpha 3 is different enough. There's some hack and slash game I never heard of. And yeah, we'll just go through the rest of these PSP games. Untold Legends, very fun hack and slash game. I'm not going to show off every single game, but these PSP games in the original boxes, we don't really get them that often. It's kind of rare to see like a whole batch of them, and they're all pretty decent games. I mean, Crisis Core here, amazing game. Used to be pretty expensive, and now it's a lot cheaper. And yeah, a lot of fun. And we also got some loose PSP games. Valkyrie Profile and Dungeon Siege Throne of Agony. I wish we had the box for Valkyrie Profile. That would have been very awesome to get, but we didn't. There's now we're moving on to 3DS games. Cooking Mama, Ultimate NES Remix. What is this? Some sort of, I guess, like Nintendo games with a twist on them. Sounds pretty cool. Shinobi 3DS. Very awesome game right here. Very underrated game. Very fun game. Great 3DS game. Early 3DS game. Of course, we got a sealed copy of America's Kitchen, whatever. Why is it always these games that come in that are sealed? I don't understand. I don't want to see any more High School Musicals factory sealed or whatever. Anyway, here's Professor Layton. Fun stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff all around. And time to move on to the Game Boy 3DS. Animal Crossing for the 3DS. Phineas and Ferb. That was a pretty popular cartoon for not my generation, but a couple generations after me. Apparently, Phineas and Ferb was very successful as a cartoon. Shrek 2. What else we got here? Mortal Kombat, Deadly Alliance for the Game Boy Advance. And we got a whole bunch of these Game Boy Color games, which I'm very, very excited to get in. I don't know. I love the original Game Boy. I think it's just a really cool system. The Rugrats movie. There's Reptar. Mecha Reptar. Here we go. Mummy Returns featuring The Rock, I believe. Oh, God. The Aladdin for the Game Boy Color. Love that art on there. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 for the Game Boy Color. I don't know how these games compare to their Big Brother counterparts, but I'm willing to find out. Paperboy. Gremlins 2. That's a pretty funny one. The Gremlins video games. Did they ever make a Gremlins 3? That's what I need to know this. And here we go. Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. These Game Boy Turtle games aren't so bad. They're pretty interesting stuff. And I mean, come on, it's Ninja Turtles, dude. Can you ever get enough of the Ninja Turtles? I don't think you can. I think you cannot possibly have enough turtles in your life. As long as they're ninjas. Here we go. Mortal Kombat 2. I was actually playing this earlier. It's pretty funny. It's hilarious that Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile are all different characters, but because the Game Boy doesn't have color, you can't really distinguish between them. Here's Roger Rabbit. Street Fighter 2. Awesome stuff. Also pretty fun on the Game Boy, I think. You kind of have to accept that the Game Boy is very limited. And I think once you get over that hump of accepting that the Game Boy is very primitive, early handheld technology, I think you will start to like it a lot more. And I don't know. I think handhelds really tap into that creativity of games, especially nowadays. Games are on every system. You know what I mean? Like a game that came out on PS2 probably came out on the original Xbox, and it probably came out on GameCube. But these handheld systems, all of these games are very, very unique to that system. You're not going to see them anywhere else for the most part. And speaking of, we got Jurassic Park complete in box for the Game Boy. Box is kind of beat up, so it's got some damage here. But awesome box, beautiful box. And the game is pretty fun game. They went with a top-down sort of idea. It's cool stuff. So I really like it. Jurassic Park, God, that's going to be one of the most famous movies ever. Though, do everything you can to avoid watching the newest Jurassic Parks, because they are pretty bad. I made the mistake of watching the newest Jurassic Park movie. The one where they tried to bring out all the original actors, but because they've all gotten a lot older, they can't really do anything. So most of the scenes in that movie are them like walking very fast to try and get away from a dinosaur. It's very hilarious in that sense. Here's Super Nintendo games: Jungle Strike, Monopoly. What else have we got going on here? Jungle Strike was a lot of fun. I like Desert Strike, Jungle Strike. They're fun, simple games. Super Strike Eagle. What else? PGA Tour Golf. Okay. Here we go. Donkey Kong Country 2. Awesome, amazing game. Even though someone took a razor blade to this copy of Donkey Kong Country 2. I don't know why. Donkey Kong Country 2 got into a knife fight somewhere, I guess. It was walking down a dark alley and had to defend itself, I guess. I don't know. Mega Man X. Legendary game right here, man. Mega Man X. Probably the best Mega Man X game, I think. I mean, God, it's a famous, famous game. NBA Jam, also another famous game. And Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. Very fun game as well. I like Super Mario Kart. It was challenging. You had to really be careful with how you took turns and stuff like that. You couldn't just power slide everywhere, and once they added that power slide jump in N64, you could kind of take corners very well. You actually had to use your brakes in Super Mario Kart. Scary, I know. All right, some random Xbox One games. Nobody cares. Well, let's get to the Xbox 360 games. This is a pretty good stack of Xbox 360 games. Maybe not the most exciting system for some people, but I like the Xbox 360. I actually have a soft spot for it. I remember when I had my first job. Here we go. Save that story for later. Operation Darkness. This is one of the expensive games for the Xbox 360. Atlas, of course, because Atlas never makes enough copies of video games. Some sort of game where you are fighting Hitler and he has like zombies and gargoyles who serve him. I don't know, but it's amazing. Dragon Age Origins is a lot of fun. But anyway, back to my story. I got my first job when the Xbox 360 was still going strong, kind of just getting started, and I remember just going and buying games, man. I had a paycheck. I was making money. I was like, well, I like video games, so why not spend $60 on a brand new video game for my Xbox 360? And it was fun times. For me personally, the Xbox 360 and the PS3, it was the beginning of the end. I love the systems; they're fun. I feel like the magic was lost with the PS4 and beyond. That's just me. I'm stuck in my old ways. Halo Wars there is pretty cool. Left 4 Dead. I mean, come on, who didn't like Left 4 Dead? It was just a game that we should have gotten years ago. Multiplayer zombie survival horror or survival game. A really fun game. Loved playing that multiplayer. Fable, Splinter Cell. Here's one I bought. This is one I bought when it was new. Back when Lost Odyssey was a new game, that's one of the games I bought. I remember thinking, wow, it's kind of crazy that this is on a Xbox 360 because it's a very traditional RPG, very much like the old Final Fantasy games. What else have we got here? Lego Star Wars, Call of Duty Black Ops. Call of Duty 4, Black Ops were huge games for the Xbox 360. Here's another fun one, Brutal Legend. This is a game starring Jack Black about heavy metal. I'm not kidding you. That's what the game is. It's pretty funny stuff. Very cool game. Lord of the Rings games. I don't know what Conquest is, but it seems cool. Sacred 2. Another unique game. And what else have we got? We have got, let's see here. Infinite Undiscovery. It's another RPG that only came out on the 360. You see, when the 360 originally launched, Microsoft spent a lot of money trying to get exclusive games for it from Japanese developers because they really wanted to make a push into Japan. That's why games like Tales of Vesperia, Infinite Undiscovery, Lost Odyssey were all only on the 360. They really wanted to get the Japanese market on board. Because you got to remember that Microsoft was an American company. Sony's from Japan. And Japanese did not like the American console coming in and trying to get sold. And it didn't work out for Microsoft, but it was still a noble effort. And we still got the games to remember. There's a Battlefield Middle-earth 2 as a RTS game set in Middle-earth. Really cool stuff. God, Mass Effect. I mean, come on. Mass Effect's a legendary game, dude. The original Mass Effect, one of my favorite games, I think. It's just really captures that grand sci-fi RPG feeling. A lot of Japanese sci-fi RPGs kind of just turn into regular fantasy games for some reason. Like Star Ocean or, God, what's the Genesis ones called? I can't remember. The Genesis RPGs, whose name escapes me at the moment. But they were also very, very fantasy-based. There wasn't too many sci-fi elements. Not compared to Mass Effect, where you're on a spaceship. You're going to different planets, and you see all these crazy different aliens. It's good stuff. Now, Mass Effect 2. I never played Mass Effect 2, but people swear by Mass Effect 2. They say Mass Effect 2 is even better than the first one, so I should probably play it one day. Saboteur here was another unique game. Had a very interesting art style. You're kind of like I think you're like a French resistance member during World War II. Look at this, the original Dead Space. I think they just remade this game, where they're looking to remake it still. Original Dead Space, man. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat the original Dead Space, dude. Very creepy horror game. It is like Resident Evil set in space, basically. And it's amazing. It's an amazing game. You haven't played Dead Space 1, play it. What else we got here for 360? Portal 2. Skyrim. God. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Skyrim first showed up in the 360 PS3 era. Along with Fallout 3. Assassin's Creed, another great series that got started in this generation of games. There was good stuff here for sure. Don't get me wrong. I love the 360. I love the PS3. It's just that, some of these games, towards the tail end, it started to get a little suspicious. All right, what have we got here? I think we're going to move on to the PS3 games. Look at all these games. Way too much stuff. All right, PS3. A lot of good PS3 games here, too. The Mass Effect trilogy. It's a pretty cool thing to have come in. Neat. We'll take a quick little look. So you get the first 3 games in here. I remember it was a big deal when the Mass Effect games got ported over to PS3, because it used to be only on the Xbox. Here's Valkyria Chronicles. This is a really fun strategy RPG that I really like. It's kind of like set in World War II, except it's not World War II. And it has a very unique combat system. And it's just a really great game. Pulls at your heartstrings a lot. Here's an awesome one. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. If you ever wanted to play a Resident Evil game where you play as the bad guys who started the virus, you want to play as the secret agents who, definitely released the virus, then play Resident Evil Outbreak. God of War Origins Collection, the Uncharted series, and Silent Hill HD Remake. PS3 and the 360 era is also when we started to get a lot of these HD remakes. Silent Hill, we got the Metal Gear Solid remakes. It was pretty fun stuff. Battlefield 3, another Skyrim. Let's see what else we got here. GoldenEye, Borderlands. Borderlands were also very popular games. They're still going to this day. Awesome stuff. And let us see here. Dragon Age 2. I never played it. Fallout New Vegas. Oh, man. People are absolutely crazy about Fallout New Vegas. I think Fallout 3 is better, but New Vegas is still really fun. It is like Fallout 3, but it's set in a kind of New Vegas, Nevada sort of, thing. It's set in a desert. It's very interesting. Very good game. Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Very fun. Very fun game. This really just lets you be a crazy powerful Jedi or a crazy powerful Sith Lord and just absolutely annihilate everything. It's really fun. Monopoly Streets. Probably terrible. And it's Guitar Hero games. Final Fantasy 13 too. I told you guys there's a lot of stuff. This is a massive amount of games. All right. Modern Warfare 3. Come on. You know about Modern Warfare 3. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Very popular. Assassin's Creed. This is a really fun game. Starhawk. There was a PS3 game called Warhawk and this is kind of like the spiritual successor to it. It's very third-person shooter type of game. Kind of like a multiplayer focus, basically. Here's Nier, a very weird game that a lot of people love. I've never played it, but I heard that the story is very weird. How they changes genres of how you play the game a lot. Dragon's Dogma here is another fantastic game. Reminds me of Elder Scrolls. We kind of go around the open world and fight monsters, get better gear. It's just fun stuff. Metal Gear Solid 4. Very, very anticipated release. I like the multiplayer in Metal Gear Solid 4. I played a lot of the multiplayer. It was a lot of fun. Borderlands Game of the Year. Diablo 3 is another fantastic game people loved. The Last of Us. Extremely popular game. Came out near the tail end of the PS3. Sniper Elite. Dishonored. Dishonored's awesome too. You play as this cool assassin guy and you go around this steampunk world and basically kill people, basically. And it's great stuff. It's good stuff. We all want to just climb around a steampunk world and have crazy magical powers that we use to kill people. That is Video Gaming 101. Let's see. XCOM Enemy Unknown. Very fun strategy game where you are playing as like the alien investigation crew. You investigate UFOs and all these alien attacks. It's really fun. You get like laser weapons and stuff like that. Red Dead Redemption. The original Red Dead Redemption. Amazing Western game that is very similar to Grand Theft Auto 4, but there's horses instead of cars and use revolvers and stuff like that. Really gives you the fantasy of being a cowboy. The original Dark Souls. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of good PS3 games here. A lot of good PS3 360 games. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I mean, come on. What? How do you... And these games are still pretty cheap, too. That's a great thing. You really can't go wrong with these games. It's just awesome stuff all around. Very awesome, awesome games that are still super cheap. So we got some collector's edition sort of things. What is this? Call of Duty Ghosts. Still sealed up. And I think this is still only like $30 or something. Even the collector's editions are really cheap. It's kind of crazy, actually. Here's Resistance 2. Pre-owned box is kind of but it's only $40. You get this cool statue. I mean, this one isn't sealed, so I'm gonna open this up. I kind of want to see this toy that you get. Look at this. This is pretty cool. You get the game and this for $40. Hell yeah, dude. I'm keeping this guy out. This guy's my new review partner. My new special guest for this video. All right, GameCube games. Don't get excited. Let's see what we got here. Get my little alien buddy out here. The Incredibles. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The Incredibles again. Tomb Raider Legend. Madden '07, SpongeBob SquarePants, Star Fox Adventures. Okay. People are looking for Star Fox Adventures. I never played it, but I'm down to give it a try. Kind of, oh god, kind of reminds me of Legend of Zelda. We also got Smash Brothers Melee and Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2 or Clash of the Ninja 2. I don't know. It's a Naruto game. Okay, Wii games. Let us see what we got for the Wii. Force Unleashed. We got Force Unleashed 2. Very fun games. Guitar Hero, AC/DC Live, GoldenEye 007. That's a pretty fun one, actually. When they remade GoldenEye, it was a lot of fun. More Guitar Hero stuff. Here we go. Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles. This is a really awesome one to get. This is a light gun shooter set in the Resident Evil world. So think of the old arcade House of the Dead games, except this is Resident Evil. It's only $15 too, and it plays great with the Wiimotes because you can just point the Wiimote at the screen and shoot. And a lot of these light gun games won't work on HD TVs, but the Wii motion sensor will. So that's a huge advantage. I just knocked over a bunch of Switch games. Whatever. I'm keeping it in. You know what? We're going over the Switch games. This is Little Dew 2 sealed. I have no idea. There's so many stickers from previous sellers on here that I don't even know what it is. Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Pokemon Shield, Splatoon 2, Bravely Default 2, which I still got to play Bravely Default 2. That was one I was looking forward to. Here we go. Original Xbox games. Because I love original Xbox too. Bloodwake. Bloodwake's like Twisted Metal, but with boats. So it sounds amazing to me. But it could be because I live near the ocean as well. Call of Duty 3. Look at this. Halo 1 and 2. It's never too late to go back to the original Halo, guys. It's never too late, and it's never shameful to do it. All right, what about this? Counter-Strike. People forgot that they put Counter-Strike on the original Xbox. Here at the Go Games, we remembered. In fact, we're trying to sell it for $8. And we got the original gun for original Xbox. Really cool. Very arcadey Western game. A lot of people don't like it. Gun is like, some people love it, and some people hate it. But look at this. Metal Gear Solid in this PlayStation 2 kind of case. And we also got the other two. Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3. I think these were part of some sort of trilogy release package for the PS2. But we're just selling them separately. We don't have the actual box that they came in. But I really love the art style of those games. They look very unique and very different. And I don't know who the artist is that does it, but it looks amazing. And here is Bully for the PS2. Absolutely hilarious game. God, I love Bully because you play as a school bully and you're just a complete asshole to everyone. It's great. I love it. Final Fantasy 12, Sims 2. God, what else? Not much. We're getting near the end, guys. We actually did it. Massive video, Pokemon Ball. Who knows what else. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Keep it here for more retro game stuff, videos, pickups, and check out our store in Florida.